to the UFC GYM Rosemead PODCAst. I'm Jesus. I'm one of the strength coaches here, and here with me is Michael, our general manager.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening.
Or good night. Or
whatever. You know
or
what?
good morning for whenever you're seeing this podcast.
It's all good. It's all good. That's what it is, really. Yeah.
All right, so you've made the decision that today is the day that you are going to be healthier and that you're going to pursue your fitness journey. So you've already finished the first step. So what's next, Mike? What's our next step after that?
Okay, plain and simple, set a goal. Set a goal, man. Don't do anything in life like without purpose, right? Like don't walk blindly anywhere, to be honest, right? So set a goal. How about this one? Take mentorship. Right?
Oh, that's a
Take
great
mentorship,
one.
and that goes with everything, right? Again, but we're not talking about that. So, get with somebody who knows more than you. Be coachable, and just look for something. Like talk to somebody, set a date, set a goal for yourself. So when you come to the gym, it's just worth it because it takes a lot out of us. It takes a lot out of people, and if you're not coming with purpose, it's easy to fall off. It truly is.
It truly is. Like, how would you describe your first experience here at the gym?
Mm-hmm.
Right, like what were you trying to do? Like, did you have a goal?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so I was goalless, but what I knew is I was at a place, like where I was at before I was at a place. Like I had outgrown it, and I know a lot of us have felt that way. I don't know if it was between the environment or just I felt lost. Like I kind of like peaked, you could say, right? Like, and I'm not in I wasn't in peak, I was in good shape and all, right? But I just was looking for more, and I didn't know what to do.
Would you say peaked in terms of knowledge, like exercise knowledge?
Yeah, knowledge. I was hitting the treadmill, running, doing, I was just doing all kinds of different types of cardio, and it was actually no problem at that point. And it wasn't any fun. I was big and strong. I looked decent. You know what I'm saying? I was happy with that, but I wasn't trying to conquer any of that. I was trying to conquer myself, right? So I was just looking for more, and I came here. Well, I mean, and then also, I was with my daughter all the time, so we would go to the gym, and I just felt like I was being selfish by taking her to the gym. She had a great attitude. She was like, she was all little, right? She's like, "Damn, chocolate milk's healthy, and that's healthy. Are we healthy?" And meanwhile, she's in the little babysitting club, right? And I was just like, there's got to be something more that we could do together, because she deserved more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, shout out to my daughter, I love you. And so UFC GYM had a kids MMA. So two things happened. I walked in the door. Everybody around me is motivated. Shout out to Jason Carter. I remember him. When I first came in, he was just like, yo. You know what I'm saying? He was in shape, has a little polo shirt on, right? And then we got started, right? So right out the gate, it was just like a good experience. And then the people here, the members, the coaches, and then kids jiu-jitsu, right? So I was able to walk out of here with a little more. She'll go home, shout out to my brother. She was like, look what I learned today. And shout out to my brother because we're jiu-jitsu heads now, right? But, 15 years ago, maybe about 12, my daughter's trying to choke us out, and we're like, what is this, right? You know what I'm saying? We really didn't fall into that. We were more, we just were about fitness at the time, So shout out to my daughter for doing jiu-jitsu before I even did it. What is going on? You know what I'm saying? That's just so weird, right? But that's what happens when you look
at the game back then.
Dude, she's always been smarter than me, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. So heck yeah, man. Met Coach Eddie. You know what I'm saying? He's amazing.
How'd you go about meeting Coach Eddie? Because this is one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That kind of got somebody transitioning into just a little
right.
I'm gonna push you harder without you knowing.
Didn't even know it.
And you're gonna come back and gonna want more.
Yeah.
So how was that whole experience?
So funny most awkward moments is getting hired here and then seeing the same dude I saw here over 10 years ago, right? And I'm just like, I must be tripping, right? This guy's still here, looks the same, right? Looks good, right? And I'm just like, and then he maybe a weekend, he's like, hey, you used to come here. I'm like, man, you know exactly who I am, right? Me? Yeah, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, And so again, I come to the gym. I don't want to say I'm overwhelmed. I'm just, and I mean the good kind of overwhelmed, right? Where I'm like, wow, this is super fun. I love the music. I love the employees. The kids club was off the hook, right? All the girls that worked there were so nice. They love my daughter. She's awesome, So I felt very at home and very comfortable there. The jiu-jitsu was awesome. My daughter walked out motivated. So now I'm at the gym, and I think I looked lost, right? I was giving 100%. I was all over the place. I liked the shape I was in, but I think you could tell I wanted something more, and I really think Coach Eddie identified that. So he went over to me one day and was like, "Yo, like, what's up?" You know, and and he's like, "What are you trying to do?" And he's like, "Why don't you try this, right?" And I was like, I did some like push-up variation, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's what I'm talking about," So, and he wasn't pushy either. So he knew like I wasn't gonna buy that day, and he didn't try to sell me anything either, right? He didn't try to get me signed up, and he just kind of like introduced himself. So every time I came to the gym, I kind of had a friend. I'm like, "What's up, man?" I'd be like, "Hey, I have a question. Need help me out?" And then eventually, like, it turned into like, "Yo, like, can I work with you?" So didn't buy those. Sorry, Katie. but honestly, like, outside of meeting you as a trainer and working with you as my first trainer, actually, that would be the guy that I would have and deserved for me to work with them, and we would have skyrocketed. But I just wasn't ready for that, like mentally at the time. Obviously, I thought I wanted more, and I got a challenge, and maybe I didn't want it. Right, I didn't know I wanted it that bad. So, but yeah, excellent introduction, excellent everything. There, it was great.
See, and I think that's where like our situations kind of paralleled.
Yeah.
Around the same time, I was just coming out of high school. Where I was transitioning, going to college, playing some football.
Right.
And I had an injured shoulder, and I was coming in like working out with like a bunch of my friends.
Sure.
Very limited knowledge. Like we only knew whatever we did from like high school.
Right.
Right. And it was just like bench, deadlift.
Oh, yeah.
And squat. But
He's a football player.
I don't know if you guys have seen that meme on the internet where it's like a bunch of dogs just taking a poop. That's how like our deadlifts look,
wow.
right? Not the best form, right? But it was just a lot of like effort. But here's one thing that happened to me where I was like coming in and I'm like, dude, I'm crazy motivated. I want to be here and like get results, rehab my shoulder, get ready for football. Right? And that's why I chose to come here. But then my friends stopped showing up. Right?
That's
and then
normal.
I was like, dude, like get your butt like in the car, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
But that only worked for so much. And then eventually like I dropped off. Right? The crazy thing is I went to college and I studied kinesiology. Met a great dude named Coach Durant. Shout out to him. Right? And then eventually I got hired here. And then that's what I was trying to be, is like that person I wish I had when I first started.
Don't even get me started, man.
Right? Because I was like, man, like not like it happens, life happens. Right? And then eventually we drop off or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to let somebody go through my situation
Sure, man.
I'm like, I could have gotten the results that I wanted a lot sooner.
That's right.
Right? But I didn't have somebody holding me accountable every single step of the way. Or somebody even encouraging me. Right? And that's where, when I started working, I started seeing like, yo, like it was here the whole time. Right? A big thing for me was just, I was a little bit more of an introvert back then.
Sure.
Right? But being here, like you start seeing a lot of people like get out of their shell, and it's just finding the right community within these four walls.
Yes. So fitness has a lot of faces, right? And they're all correct. And the most important thing is to find yourself in fitness, right? Because we can all agree, and unfortunately, like the stat is like 20% of people actually have a gym membership, right? And who knows how many people actually work out outside of the gym? So we're just talking about like gym stats, but where do you go and what do you do, right? And like how do you define yourself and how do you make it purposeful? And like you have to be in the right community, in the right environment. You have to find mentorship. You have to set a goal, and you have to show up with purpose, And so you seem to find yours, like I found mine, So yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that's kind of like the biggest thing that a lot of us fail to do is we start off by just working out versus training, right?
Right.
And that's a huge difference, right? Yeah. Like anybody could come in and working out, but once you are actually training, there's purpose behind every single
What's
workout.
the difference between training and working out?
Right, it's just having a goal and an outline as to how you're going to achieve that.
That's right.
Whether it be through bodybuilding or a performance program, or let's say you're doing like powerlifting or Olympic lifting, or even if you're doing MMA, right? There always has to be some sort of structure, right, and a timeline as to how we're going to get there.
Right.
Right, and so whatever like we have to do, like we're going to make it happen.
A deadline is going to create urgency, right? And like urgency is going to create results. So if you set a goal for yourself, you're going to work a little bit harder. I love people that are getting married. Nobody works hard on those people, right? I always tell them, you got one chance. This picture's happening one time, right? You know what I'm saying? So you got like 90 days, right? Or the funny one is like my birthday's in 2 weeks. There's nobody more motivated than their birthday's in 2 weeks.
One of the funniest ones I heard was this guy comes up to me on the floor and he's like, hey, I need to get a six-pack. for EDC. I was like,
Yeah.
cool, when's EDC? He's like, next week.
Oh man, yeah.
And I'm like, well, we could have done something 6 months ago.
Right. Yeah. So like, everywhere you go, if you're, no matter who you are in the gym, if you set up a goal and honestly, like, let somebody take you under their wing and take a mentor, you're gonna reach your goals. And what I love about it is, I love food, right? So you wouldn't hire me to cook you a steak for a holiday, right? You'd hire a chef, right?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't hire me. You can ask me to bridge the gap between yourself and a trainer, right? But you wouldn't hire me to train you either. You'd hire a trainer. So people just forget that they're especially, like, say for example, this lady's an accountant, right? And she's looking for a trainer. Well, if I'm looking for an accountant, I'm looking for her. I'm not looking, you know what I'm saying? So your specialty, you spent how many years in college?
4.
4 years of college. How long have you been a trainer?
6 years now.
So that's what 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, so
All right,
you have
Mike's
10.
got the math down.
Yeah, don't come to me for math, right? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, you've got 10 years of experience under your belt, and I should look for you. I got to get over myself and look for the person who's going to help me out. When I want to get my taxes done, I'm going to go to a tax person, right? So at the end of the day, like find somebody who can definitely help you with your goal and just kind of get over your ego a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and learn something and do something,
Yeah, and let's say you're like, you know what, training's too expensive for me.
Sure.
Right? Like, I'm not ready for that, right?
Yep.
Either way, we should still meet up with the coach.
Sure.
Right? Like, we want to set a starting point as
Oh,
to,
yeah.
like, like, what did I look like on my first day at the gym?
Uh-huh.
Like, what were my measurements?
Mhm.
Right? Like, what calories am I supposed to be eating?
Sure.
Like, what are my macronutrients?
Sure.
Like, these are a lot of things that, like, we usually come on into the gym and we have no idea. It's just like, hey, I want to be healthy.
I want to lose weight.
I want to lose
You know what I
weight,
mean?
right?
Yeah.
But again, that's just a random goal with like no timeline.
I mean, a good example is like firefighters in a step test. Your sheriffs and they're like mile-and-a-half run, right? Stuff like
Yes.
that, right? That's so definite, right? And so they're going to reach that goal because they understand exactly what it is, right? And they're purpose-driven. So if we can set a goal for ourselves on whatever it may be, it's just worth it. You'll get it's almost a guarantee. It's science, right?
Yes.
Thermodynamics, right? It's science. What you put in and what you put out, right? So like, what you take in and put out, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we got to view like having a coach as to like having a fitness GPS, right? Because you know where your starting point's at, right? And you know where you want to be at. You just don't know how to get there,
Right.
right? And one thing that happens quite often is like, yo, I used to be in great shape 10 years ago,
Sure.
or 15 years ago,
Sure.
right? But then you've never been in this kind of shape.
What's great shape?
Exactly.
Right.
Like, what is that? And the definition is going to vary from like people
Oh, yeah.
to like
It's
person
individual.
to person, right? So it's if you've never been, let's say, like this heavy, like if your goal is to lose weight,
Sure.
you've never been this heavy,
Sure.
right? Or if you've never this is the first time you're this old,
Okay.
right? And all of a sudden it's like, yo, my knee hurts,
Oh,
my
man.
back hurts,
Oh, God.
right? And then you get cravings like, yo, I had a rough day at work.
Are you describing me right
know?
now?
I was about to say, and I just had a crumble cookie.
Oh, I don't even know what that means, man. I don't even...
Yeah, don't look at his beard, right? But it's when we start looking at all these things, it's okay. Like you've never been in this kind of shape, you've never had these
Right.
kinds of pains, right? You've never had these kinds of habits.
Right.
Now, how do we get back to where we used
Well,
to be? At?
let's stop right there because a lot of times when we want to get back to where we used to be, we're not who we used to be, right? So it's not like what we got to get to is our best current self, right? So a lot of times people are injuring themselves, they're discouraged, right? And what I like is when you get a trainer, it's science. It's just science, man. Let's keep it real, right? So you're gonna know how long it takes to gain a pound of muscle. You're gonna know how long it takes to lose a pound of fat, right? You're gonna learn how to do the correct cardio for whatever your goal is, right? Which is important. You're gonna learn the right diet. I learned the importance of recovery. Let me tell you, right? So at the end of the day, I think having a trainer, more or less, it's just gonna make everything make sense for you, and it's gonna help you reach your goal without quitting, man. Because some people are doing so well and they don't even know it. Or some people come in, and if you're like me, right, I'm gonna knock it out the park, right? I can't walk for 2 weeks. It's like that's not the point, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get it right. Let's figure out what step one is, because step one's different for everybody, and let's figure out what the end goal is, because that's different for everybody. And we're all coming from a different place. We are not who we used to be. We are not who we are going to be in the future. We are who we are today, and let's take it from there. And let's not be cookie cutter about it, because if me and you did the same workout, I tell people all the time, me and you do the same work on the internet, it's just not gonna have the same effect, you know. And are we even ready for it? You know, like just you gotta put some thought into the game, you know.
Yeah, and that's where everything is going to be tailored for you specifically.
Oh yeah,
Right? Because I get this a lot where it's like, well, I saw this workout on YouTube or I
Yeah.
saw this on like Instagram.
yeah,
Right? And those workouts, they're not bad,
Yeah.
right? But they're not for you,
right,
right? And Mike, like when you came to me, like you're like, hey, I want to get better at jujitsu,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, my conditioning sucks,
Yeah.
right? My strength sucks. Like I want to get better at
Thank you. Did I say that?
Yeah, and you're like, my diet also sucks, but you're like, we're not gonna worry about that one, right? And this is where it's like, okay, like now you come to me and I go through a whole like analysis as to
Right.
like, okay, this is our starting point, this is what our end point is, but we also have limitations, and this is where
Yeah.
like a coach is gonna help you overcome those limitations
Mhm.
to make sure you're the best version of yourself.
Well, let's take it a step back though, because when you were working on figuring out a program for me, you knew one thing, and my purpose was to get better at jujitsu. Because one thing that I knew was going to take time was the knowledge and the commitment, right? But one thing I knew I was more in control of was my physicality, right? So like I needed to be more mobile. I needed to just get my knees right, get my core right, get my conditioning up. Don't look at me and remember all this stuff, right? So
a little bit of PTSD,
a little bit, yeah. So, but the beautiful thing about it is I finally found purpose, and that was the difference between, say, Coach Eddie back in the day, when it didn't really matter if I was in shape or not, because I was young, I looked good enough, I felt good, although mentally I wanted more. It didn't matter if I had more.
Yeah.
But at this point, to know that when I'm on the mat that I can do better, and the only thing holding me back, it wasn't time anymore, because I knew I had to put time in to learn, right? So that wasn't gonna speed up any faster, right? But to know that I can perform better, and I wasn't doing that, drove me crazy. So it's like, Jesus, man, the stuff you've been talking to me about, it makes sense. Let's do it, And honestly, health is worth it. Like, it's worth every dollar. It's worth the time. It makes you so much better at everything, and it's 100% worth it.
See, the best part that I enjoyed, at least from like training you, right?
There we go.
Was every time we'd be doing like some sort of conditioning or anything like that, right? Like Mike's out of breath, and I'm like, come on, man, like my 72-year-old client,
Oh, yeah.
like is
Pat.
in better shape than you, right? Like
Shout out to Pat.
She's like running laps around this guy,
Right.
Right. And then as soon as Mike wanted to be like, man, shut the,
Yeah.
like, yo, time's up,
Yeah.
let's go.
You know what? And that brings it around to like one of my favorite parts about fitness and reaching goals and purpose and all that stuff is it's for everybody. You could have a 72-year-old lady, right, trying to get her fitness in, and it being damn near impossible. How many 72-year-old people do you know are in shape, like physically running, right? How many 72-year-old people are alive? Excuse me, right? So you were able to take a 30-something myself, right, person and help me get better for jiu-jitsu, and I don't know, in a very parallel way, take a 72-year-old lady and help her find happiness and peace within her what she wanted physically. And that's amazing. That's what fitness is about. It's not a look. It's not there's not just one way, right? Like, we all take something different from fitness, and then helping others reach their goal. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels amazing. Like, I want to say, like, helping out Pat, like one of the best feelings ever with that was when she told me, like, hey, my doctor said I don't have to take all these medications
Oh
anymore.
my God, man!
Like, all she said was like, yo, like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been at 72.
Does it get any realer?
Like, this lady was doing MMA towards the back end of our
Get
training
out!
here.
I didn't even know that.
Dude, she's like in the octagon training. I think it was like with Coach Pacquiao, like back
Wow,
in the day.
beautiful.
Right? And they're freaking doing MMA training in the octagon. She's taking our daily ultimate training classes. She's doing Zumba. She's
I do
training
remember
with
DUT.
me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And even to the point where like she's ready to leave the gym, and I joke around like, "Oh, you still got 2 laps."
Yeah.
Right? And then she'd come back like 5 minutes later. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yo, like, why are you all red?" She was like, "You said do 2 laps."
I remember her progression with running. I remember like us talking about it and seeing it, and it was amazing. And then it trumped my progression with running, right?
Yeah, it only took about a week.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And I feel like, wow, like to be able to help people and make a difference, to make a deep down difference. It's so crazy how people don't. How I wish more people identified fitness as like a solution for a lot of different things, and it really is. And that's one thing I really like. That we're very strong about here is your mental health. Again, shout out to Derek Gallup and Adam Sedlak, two leaders in like the mental health fight. You know what I mean? And I love being here because when I'm done with jiu-jitsu class, man, right? Now, the way I feel before I work with the trainer, oh, no, not a good feeling, right? But when I'm done or in the middle of it, I feel amazing, right? So it's just wonderful, like what working hard and challenging your body can do. And it's wonderful because everything in our body tells us not to, and we can't, which is kind of weird, right? It's like, oh man, you're about to do these lunges, or even the warm up, like, oh my God, like I don't want to do this, right?
Yeah.
And it's weird how like everything inside of me is like, no, but then in the back of my head, I really know, like, yo, you know what's about to happen. You're about to kill it, right? And when you're done, you're like, man, I love you, dog. I appreciate you, right? You're done with jiu-jitsu, one of the hardest workouts ever. You're like, man, I'm so happy to be here. It feels so good, and I'm so worn out, right? It's odd how everything tells us not to. And I feel like not enough people have taken the leap and trusted fitness to realize that maybe like going against everything you feel or your body's telling you is the right thing to do. Because it might be your body's in a bad state, right? It's got these bad habits like, nah, man, don't show up, eat those donuts, go to sleep, wake up and eat more donuts.
Which one did you listen to?
Oh, was I just listening to myself? Or was that just me?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, everything, and I still go through it. Like, I love jiu-jitsu, I love it, right? And I love having a trainer. But even sometimes before, I'm just like, oh my God, right? And then I'm like, well, obviously I know, like, from habit that it's going to be great. But even there's a little part of me that still says, like, dude, just go home. You're tired, or like, it's just not going to be the night. And then when I'm done, I'm just like, it's so funny. I'm still like, what was I thinking? Obviously, I show up, right? But it's so beautiful what fitness can do for you.
And this is why it's so important to set a goal at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's, why are we doing this? Right? And there has to be not just like a random goal.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
oh, of course.
It's
got to be measured.
Yeah. Right? And there's got to be purpose behind it. Like,
100%.
you usually call it an X factor.
Sure.
Right? It's like, why do we want to lose weight?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sometimes it's aesthetics. Other times it's going to be health reasons.
Sure.
Or like, in other cases, it's like, hey, I have a daughter. I want to be healthier for her.
Oh, I've seen a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
Right? Or I want to get better at MMA. Right? Because I don't want to be in a position where something happens and I don't know what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So there's always got to be a purpose behind every little thing that we're doing.
Yep.
Right? And that's how we find ourselves being consistent here at the gym.
Right. I mean, don't forget, like, nothing is singular, right? So, like, we have to understand that we also have to check ourselves psychologically. And part of that is finding an X factor, right? So why should I show up? Why should I spend the money? Why should I diet, right? But we know we need it, right? So let's remind ourselves why we're here, what we're doing. I love the I'm having a kid. The fathers are like, man, my kid's 1 or 2 and I want to be around for them later. Or, I've been through times where, like, I'm tired. I had my daughter was little. She had to go to the park all the time. And I'm like, man, like, how long you'll be running for? You know what I'm saying? like I'm tired, man. And I'm getting grouchy and stuff, but it's just not fair.
You're like, hey, go get Pat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but call Pat. She gonna run with you for a couple hours, right? And but yeah, like, and I'm proud of those people, and at the end it's worth it for them too. But we really it does take a little bit, you got dive a little deep and to figure out why we should be doing this stuff.
Yeah, and with everything, like, we want to make sure it's like, again, purpose behind everything, right? There's a timeline. Right, but one thing that we usually overlook is our nutrition. Like, that's for some reason,
man.
That is like, not for some reason. Like, we know the reason. Food tastes amazing,
delicious.
Right, like
that's psychological warfare right there. For
it
you.
Really is. That puts a lot of strain on my mental health.
I'm smiling right now just thinking about cookies.
Right, but that's where we've partnered up with an amazing brand called
Don't even start.
Right. And I've been taking these supplements for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Right. It makes life so much easier. Right. Like, there's things where, yes, like, we have to track our calories. We have to track our macronutrients. Right. But this is why they're called supplements. Like, like we all miss something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like for me, like I know I'm indoors most of the day,
Oh man, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And one thing I'm missing is vitamin D because I'm just not out
Sure,
there,
sure.
right? Or
Mm-hmm.
there's times where like I eat like a cheeseburger,
Mm.
right? And then I'm like, oh man, like my stomach is bloated,
Mm-hmm,
right? And
mm-hmm.
we have like digestive enzymes
Mm-hmm.
or pretty much like whatever we need, like we have, right?
Right.
And it's the best.
Well,
Like,
I mean, look, the two things, right? First, I'm corny, but because corny is like just the real stuff, right? So most of us, and I say this to everybody, it's just a fact. Most of us have a vitamin and nutrient
deficient.
deficient diet. It's just real, right? And then when you start working out, you're pulling more from yourself that you don't even have to start with, right?
Yeah.
So and then second, they always say, hey, you can measure if it's working when you don't take it. One thing I do know is when I'm not taking the vitamins I want, I just don't feel the same. And if I know I'm about to get serious for the next like 3 months, 3 to 6 months, right? I'm gonna buy my stack. I'm gonna buy all the vitamin D's. I'm gonna buy the digestive enzymes. I'm gonna buy the what do we call the fish oils and stuff like that? Or what do we?
Omegas,
Yeah,
super omegas.
Yes, right. And at the very least, a multivitamin, right? So, but hey, look, let's get real cheesy right now. Okay, so what is this?
Right here we have our all-in-one super blend.
Now, man, hold on. Here we go. Right. Um, I like this was my idea. We both know this was my idea.
Yes.
And not because I want credit for it, because I actually believe in this, right? So I'm gonna some facts, right? And like the reason why I'm reading these facts is because they hit home to me. Like I take this every morning, right? They hit home to me. So I'm just gonna read it word for word, okay? Fight the stress of modern life with a super blend of ingredients. No, let's take a step back right there. Vitamin and nutrients, vitamins and minerals affect what?
Just our daily function, right? Like when let's say you want to just get bigger,
Okay.
right? You need nutrients going into
Okay.
your body.
Okay.
If you want to be healthier, you need nutrients going into your body,
Okay.
right? But if we're not feeding our body all the right stuff, like let's say you didn't eat a fruit today or a vegetable today,
Mhm.
right? Like what else are you missing?
No, you know the answer to this, so I'm just gonna tell it for you, okay? Our mood,
Yeah.
our brain fogginess, our hormones,
Yes.
right? Vitamins and minerals regulate all that stuff. So I think it hits big when you're not taking them, and then you're like, you're falling asleep when you're driving. You might not want to, talk to another guest, or you might not want to deal with a phone call, right? Well, it's because you're dealing with yourself, right? You're not regulated. So the addition of an adaptogenic blend of natural herbs and mushrooms help the body support healthy inflammation and respond to stress, anxiety, and fatigue to create overall well-being. I 100% believe in that. Like, I'm not getting paid by anybody. I mean, I get paid here, obviously, but like this is something that I really believe in, right? And contains functional amounts of special mushrooms, reishi and chaga and ashwagandha. Okay, reishi, chaga, ashwagandha. Just kidding. So that rhyme, not even that rhyme, right? So I wholly believe that, and I'm part of having the energy, the mental lack of mental fogginess, and kind of like that attitude. Checking my attitude. You know what I'm saying? I'm always ready to go. Let's get it. Okay. Second thing that I really like: get the right balance of superfood every day. Okay, here we go. Through a mix of vegetables and greens, Super Blend provides 2 full servings of vegetables that support skin protection and improvements to health and longevity and reduce the impact of aging. How you feel about that?
Dude, I love it, right? Because a lot of us are always kind of concerned, especially now where a lot of us are focused on like how we look, how our skin looks,
Ooh.
right? Like now if you have like a supplement that has all the vitamins, all the minerals
Yeah.
that you need, but is also good for your skin,
What do you know about collagen?
right? Well, collagen, right? There's so many benefits. With DotFit, we use collagen too,
Sure.
right? So it's good for the joints.
Okay.
Right, and that's like a big one. Like you want to make sure like your joints, obviously, as you start getting older or as you start improving your
Right,
training,
right.
You want to make sure you have solid joints,
Right.
right. But they also notice that hey, like all our people are taking collagen too.
Mhm.
They also have really good skin,
Yeah.
like really good hair,
Right.
right. And now it's just like like we're getting our bang for our buck where
Right.
we originated just mostly for joints,
Mhm, mhm.
but like everyone has good hair and good skin.
What I want to talk about collagen is, so we produce collagen naturally in our body, right? So
Yes.
it's something we produce naturally. when you're gaining or losing weight and your skin is stretching, and a lot of us go through that. I remember when I was like 14, I first started benching, dude, my shoulders got humongous, right? And I had the craziest stretch marks. And I'm just thinking about that right now. Now, that's probably because I got a little bit big too fast, right?
Yes.
So within the weight loss, weight gain process, collagen helps us keep up with that, and we're not gonna have these visible, stretch marks and such. Okay, last one. This is my absolute favorite. Okay, Super Blend delivers natural nutrition with caloric efficiency. Feed your gut the right way with pro and prebiotics alongside digestive enzymes to support a healthy gut microbiome, optimize digestion and absorption, and transmit proper messaging throughout the body. Supplies 6 grams of fiber, a 3-strain probiotic blend, and 10 billion CFUs and 10 milligrams of digestive enzyme blend.
Mike, now let me just ask you
I'll put it this way.
a personal question.
Yes.
On a day-to-day basis, how often does your stomach hurt?
Oh man. It only hurts if I eat bad.
Right?
I don't know if that's day to day or every day.
That's like every day. Right? So how has this supplement helped out with that?
Okay, so I was already on the prebiotic train. So I like what's that little fizzy drink I like? What's it called? It's what it is. It's that probiotic drink.
Oh, kombucha.
I love kombucha, right? Kombucha feels good. Okay, I take 2 probiotics from .fit, right, daily. But this has it in it also, right? So point being, what I've learned, and I'm telling you, I learned this by doing it. When I take a probiotic in the morning or a Super Blend, for example, Super Blend, for one, having everything I need, and secondarily having a probiotic, I am not hungry, and I mean that in the best way. When I wake up in the morning and I'm just having a bad diet, first thing I want is coffee and donuts. I want sugar, I want carbs. Give them to me.
Donuts.
I wake up
pizza.
The first thing I think about is how am I going to get this horrible stuff in my body, right?
Yes.
But when I'm on a healthy kick, doing probiotics, taking all my vitamins, right? I wake up in the morning, I just want some water. The first thing I want is my probiotics, right? I don't, and then all of a sudden, my stomach gets leaner. I lose a little bit of weight. My waistline goes down. I feel good, and it comes down to the communication. And it was so crazy because I was exposed to kombucha a long time ago, but I was just disgusting, right? I had no purpose for that.
Yes.
And the way that it communicates with me, the way I can feel my body communicating, it's give me that good stuff, give me that good stuff. But when I'm not taking it, it's just where's the breakfast burrito at?
Yeah.
No, right?
See, and that transitions into the next thing where you said it delivers nutrients in a caloric efficiency.
Sure.
What does that mean?
You're not taking too many. Okay, so look, the food we eat, right? All of it has a little bit of nutrients and minerals in it, right? So I can get it a couple different ways. And if I'm gonna get it efficiently, I'm not gonna have to eat a whole chicken to get 160 grams of protein, right? You could eat it more efficiently, or you're not gonna, the carbs or the energy you need, you're not gonna have to get it from a large amount of something. I'm gonna have to eat 100 carrots. I'm not gonna eat, a whole, fruit basket and a, pot of vegetables to get what I need.
Name one more fruit, Mike, or one more vegetable.
Carrots, broccoli. Okay, tomatoes are fruit. Banana. I love bananas.
There we go.
I love bananas, right? So I'll give you an example. I take when I'm on my probiotics, right? I'm really being solid. All I want is waters and banana in the morning. I'm let me get that banana. Let me get filled up. Let me get something healthy inside of me. So anyway, I love Super Blends, man. Keep it real. I really wanted to bring this on the podcast. You don't have to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. There's no link, right? I just really like it, and it's just part of it's part of our brand, right? It's part of what we do.
And I'll tell you my favorite thing, right? Because I take all the .fit supplements.
Sure.
Calcium, digestive enzymes, omegas, right? Your multivitamins, right? Every little thing that we have, I take, right? But then you start looking at the pills.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking 30 pills.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just 30 pills or one scoop.
One scoop.
Right? And for me, it's if you struggle with just downing pills or just
yeah.
One of my struggles would be just remembering to fill up my pill box.
Mm-hmm.
I do it every Sunday,
man.
and then I'm just how many more pills?
That's good of you, a pill box.
Yeah, it's just it became tedious, and then I was man,
or dropping a pill.
Yeah. Oh, dude, one time I dropped
annoying
freaking $100 worth of pills on the floor, right on the gym floor.
No. I had a bag of coenzyme, and it's a red pill. Opened up, I had a bottle. Opened up in my gym bag. Everything turned red, everything. It was
The worst one is if an omega like pops open like in your bag,
Uh-huh.
and it just smells fishy. Like
Yeah. Mm-mm.
it's the worst thing ever, right? But you can avoid that just by taking a scoop.
One
of,
scoop.
One scoop.
Okay, here's a good one. What's your favorite way to take it?
So far, I've tried it with water.
Uh,
It was okay.
yeah.
But I think right now the best thing is what I do in the morning is I'll take a scoop and I'll put in a scoop of creatine.
I thought you were gonna say dry. I thought you when you went like
Oh
that.
yeah,
I was like, wow.
dry scoop, dry scoop my
That should be a
vitamins every
challenge.
morning.
That would be a challenge. Right
Yeah,
there.
no, I add creatine to
Yeah.
it every morning with 8 ounces of water.
Solid.
Right, and then like best thing, like I don't really have like a lot of like digestive issues.
Sure.
But I would say like one thing I do constantly like kind of like have in the mornings is sometimes I'll wake up a little bloated.
Sure.
Right. But as soon as I start taking like the super blend, like that goes away.
Yeah.
And I just feel good. Like it's also really good to just wake up and drink a glass of water.
Oh.
Like hydration is like something that
Those livers and kidneys cleaned
dude,
out. You know?
it does. Water just does wonders. For the
It
body.
changes the rest of your day, because again, it comes down to, and what I really feel about is communication. So, if I start off my day with like, I mean, not that I would start off with a soda, right? But you start off with a soda, right? The rest of my day is ruined. The rest of my day, like I'm wanting sugar and I'm wanting carbs and just all this disgusting stuff, right? You know, but I love it, you know. But when I start off my day with like a ton of water, and then follow up with like some black coffee, follow up with a super blend, right? Like,
and then a workout.
I don't even know like what time, like I'll be hungry again. Like I kind of gotta make myself eat, right? And I've eliminated so many calories because now I'm just focused. I'm not thinking about like hunger. I'm not thinking about energy. I've got all the energy, so much energy that I don't even want to eat because I'm so focused working and stuff like that. You know, I'm working real hard. You know what I'm saying? So, you know me, right? So yeah, it's wonderful. The communication, the communication between your gut and your mind is so important, man. And it sets every day. Really, it really does.
So, as we start closing up our
Sure.
the podcast, right? One thing is when you finally make a decision to come on into the gym,
Yep.
right? And you're like, hey, like I'm healthy, right? I want to like transform myself in a different capacity, right? We have to remember our biggest thing is setting a goal.
Yep.
But it's just a purposeful goal.
Purposeful goal.
Right? Like think about it kind of like as a tree, right? You have like your purpose right down the middle, and then you're gonna branch out. Like I'm gonna do this for my health. I'm gonna do this for my family, right? But then you could branch out and be like, but I can also have a 6-pack, right?
Right.
And I could also do jujitsu,
Right.
Right? And it's finding your purpose, like your goal with the purpose, right? And then aside from that, like second big thing that we touched based upon today was finding a professional.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Because now you're going to have somebody that's going to tailor a program to you, going to help you answer any question that you might have.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Why you don't? You go to the doctor. You don't go to a homeless man when you got like illness, right? Because a homeless man's not a doctor, right? So why would you go? Why would you think? And you know, excuse me, but why would you think you know what to do? Tell me what's made you think you need to know what to do with your body to reach a certain goal you've never reached before, right? Just find somebody to help you out. It's okay, and you'll thank me later. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and then following that up with, you know, nutrition has to be like a big thing, right? And that's where it's like we want to have the best supplements in our body.
Sure.
But the big thing is, what supplements do we take, right? Why this one versus that one?
Of course.
Right? But then a big thing I've always seen is some people buy a supplement that they might not need.
Sure.
Right? Like I'm big on not selling pre-workout at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because now it's your body's loaded on caffeine, but let's see if your body performs really well with just drinking water.
Have you tried a sleep and diet first?
Yeah,
Have
like
you tried to sleep and
basic
diet?
stuff. Like let's set a baseline first with like our basic nutrition, basic sleep patterns, working out, drinking water, eating fruits and vegetables.
You'll find it. I haven't taken pre-workout. I can't even remember last time.
And let's see how we perform with just the basics. And then now when you want to boost, bam, that's where the caffeine kicks in. That's where you get the pre-workout, right? And so going forward, it's coming into the gym, finding like your people, having your goal, right? And then finishing off with finding your community.
Well, let's take a step. Let's take a step further. My favorite part about fitness, you almost hit it, community, is not what fitness does for me, but what fitness does for everybody around me. I'm a better employee. I'm a better father. You know, I'm a better friend. I'm a better whatever, right? And ultimately, like, fitness follows me everywhere. So every time I'm making myself better, when I leave the gym, the other 23, 22, 20 hours of the day, I'm better. I sleep better. You know, I probably smell better. I probably look better. You know what I'm saying? You know, I have a better attitude for it. And like you're creating momentum You're creating momentum. You're no longer holding yourself back, and you're opening up doors for yourself, and you're making everybody around you better for it. And then sometimes you can turn into a leader. Sometimes you can inspire others. You don't even know it. You don't even know it, right? And all you're trying to do is be your best. And I think the benefits of that mean the most to me. Like, man, I'm killing it, and I'm just everything's better. Like, man, I'm chasing my daughter around, and now she can't keep up with me. Or work is, my mentality at work is so great. Or I'm asking others to join me to be healthy, and what would they think if I couldn't, perform, or I wasn't doing well? They'd be like, man, be quiet, man. And I get that. So I just love how it just creates a momentum, almost like an aura everywhere you go, and how health improves more than your looks, and even more than the way you feel it. It helps. You can probably drive better. You name it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Right? So I don't know about that last one, though.
I mean, what I'm saying? You ever fall asleep driving, you know what I'm saying? You got no energy, you're eating McDonald's and stuff, and you're tired.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and end it off on that one before we start getting any more bad jokes, right? So we want to thank you guys for joining us for our first ever UFC GYM Rosemead podcast. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys tune in for our next one.
Yeah, a lot of special guests coming up. Shout out to Jiu-Jitsu. I didn't even talk enough about it. Shout out to Jiu-Jitsu. Try it. Do it.
You know what? Shout out to you for staying in tune for the whole podcast, right? And joining us, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a great day, and thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Jiu-Jitsu.